How you doing, guys? I hadn't done this in a long time, but I just decided that it was time to come back. It was time to come back with another bonus episode of Backlicks in a Podcast. See, what happened is that there's a movie that came out that I wanted to see, and I saw it and I got so excited about it. I needed to come home and record my impressions on it. So I'm about to give you my impressions of The Fall Guy. That's right, guys. We're back from the brink, back from the saddle, and I'm your host, Zoe, that's CEO or ZO for those of you living outside of the United States. And this is bonus episode number 26. And thank you for downloading and streaming. We really appreciate it. So before I talk about the movie, I want to talk about, 80s television. So 80s television, they had a lot of like detective shows and shows that where they solve mysteries, and it's like everybody is kind of getting into the act of solving mysteries. So you would have like a television mystery writer or just a regular novel mystery writer solving mysteries, or you have offense attorneys solving crimes, or medical doctors solving crimes, or dudes with high-tech cars solving crime, or good old boys solving crime, or mercenaries solving crime, or stunt performers solving crime. It's like no matter what type of occupation that you were into back in the 80s, you were probably solving some kind of crime. You were solving a mystery, and that was entertainment in the 80s. They could build a show around anybody solving. I suppose if you had something like Uber back in the 80s, you would have Uber drivers solving crime. So this movie that we watched was a remake of one of those movies. Now, I usually talk about the movies yesteryear, but as I said earlier, me and my son Zach, we went to the movies and we watched The Fall Guy. And I was actually excited about watching this movie when I saw the trailer. So it just looks good on the trailer. It's obviously going to be completely different from the TV show. I kind of like how 21 Jump Street, the movie, was way different than 21 Jump Street, the movie. So 21 Jump Street, the TV show, was more serious. 21 Jump Street, the movie, was more comedy. So in The Fall Guy, we have basically it is an action comedy. It's an action comedy, whereas the TV show Fall Guy was more of how should I put it? It was kind of like a campy action type show. It's kind of hard to describe. I guess you had to be there. I don't want to call it a comedy. I mean, there was some humor, but there was just a particular style that shows like The Fall Guy or Knight Rider or The A-Team had. It's campy action. I think that is the best way to describe it. It's violence, but it's kid-friendly violence. It's violence that you can share with your 2-year-old. So The Fall Guy is about a renowned Hollywood stuntman, Colt Seavers. He gets seriously hurt during one of his stunts and he disappears from the film industry. A year later, he's coaxed into returning to stunt work and a chance to reconnect with his one-time love interest, but something goes horribly wrong. Actually, a lot of things go horribly wrong. So, this movie is starring Ryan Gosling as Colt Seavers. Colt Seavers was the character that was originally played by Lee Majors. I think that is the only character from the TV show that returns. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I've watched the show. I remember I used to watch it religiously, but I don't think any of these other characters in this movie ever had an appearance on a TV show. So Emily Blunt played Judy Moreno. Aaron Taylor Johnson played Tom Ryder. Hannah Waddingham played Gail Mayer. Stephanie Sue played Alma Milan. Winston Duke played Dan Tucker. Ben Knight played Dressler, and Zara. I don't know how to say this name. I should have thought about this when I started this show. Zara Macales plays Venti Kushner. And there are obviously a lot of other talented actors in there, but these are the characters that kind of left an impression on me as I left the theater. This was directed by David Leitch. He also directed Bullet Train, John Wick, and Atomic Blonde, and a lot of other action movies. And here's the thing. This is in the same vein as I think Bullet Train is, it has the same type of action as John Wick, maybe not as much gunfire, not the fancy, gun fu, I guess you would call it, but there's, the action and the stunts in this movie are definitely impressive. It was written by Drew Pearce and Glenn A. Larson. Glenn A. Larson gets credit because he, obviously was the original creator of the Fall Guy TV show and many TV shows from the 1980s. And he's responsible sort of for that formula of regular person solving crime. You have the music by Dominic Lewis, and it was just a great, there were great song selections in the movie. And I love the way they worked a lot of the music into the movie. It kind of reminded me how they worked the music into Guardians of the Galaxy. So that was great. So, here's some of my impressions of this movie. It was a crispy sweet bacon of action comedy that's wrapped around the dog medicine that is a love story. Now, I know that sounds horrible, but if you go see the movie, you know why I said it that way. Basically, it's a nice, tasty treat on the outside with a nice, medicine for your soul on the inside. And, it was beautifully shot. It had, an exciting action. It had so many jokes, so many sight gags, so many, interesting choices. There was great chemistry between the leads, especially between Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling and Duke. And there were a lot of inside references to the original TV show. And I mean, everything from like sound effects to the type of the truck makes a reappearance. So in the original TV show, the main character Severs has a particular type of truck, and so in the movie they brought back that truck, or a truck that looks a lot like it. And there's just a lot that goes on. It's a very in some ways it's a very convoluted story, but it's so enjoyable. It's so, because the core story is basically it's very simple. The core story of this movie is very simple. It's basically a straight line from A to B, and then wrapped around the core story is this action comedy that's just fun. It just so much happens, and I don't know how to impress you about make an impression upon you about how much fun we had in the theater. I laughed out loud several times at the joke. I mean, it's a weekday, so there weren't too many people in the theater. Maybe there was like one other couple in the theater besides me and Zach, but so I was able to laugh without feeling ashamed about how hard I was laughing. I guess I can put it that way. So, not much more that I can add other than that it was a really good time. And it kind of reminded me of, Leitch's earlier films like Bullet Train, like, John Wick. And I really enjoyed basically the two stories that kind of intertwined around each other. Those were great. And, the thing that's kind of like a shame of it all is that it did not do well at the box office. And at least this weekend it didn't. Hopefully it may pick up some more viewers next weekend or maybe during the week. I don't have a lot of hope for that happening. And it's a shame because my impression was that it was a really good movie. So, if you get a chance, if you missed it, go ahead and try to check that out. So those are my impressions of The Fall Guy. I would have to see it again. I don't know. I'll probably wait for it to start streaming, but I would definitely have to see it again. So I hope you get a chance to check it out. The recommendation comes from me. I ain't going to front. All right. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Please like and subscribe. Check out the podcast. You know, all the stuff that people normally say at the end of a video. Thanks a lot and have a great one.